bullshit. Oh, right.
Look at my sausage.
Leave me the fuck alone!
I'm gonna tell your wife. I'm gonna tell your wife.
Now I'm smoking a cigarette and drinking something I won't reveal.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Night Talk Live. Please, thank you.
Go screw yourself, asswipe.
Oh, not nice. My name is Midnight Mike, and I will be here tonight with you for the next 60 minutes.
Yes, yes.
And I'm going to be talking about alien abductions, military abductions, and be doing a rundown of Reddit conspiracy, our conspiracy. Why not? And my mic keeps falling down. Come on, Mike. I need a better mic arm. Really? I do. Kind of do.
Oh my god!
Yes, oh my god. So the other night I was watching GAIA TV, and Regina Meredith has a program on GAIA TV where she just does a sit-down interview with somebody for about an hour. And I saw her interview somebody by the name of, I'll actually bring it up on screen here for you. Her name is Taylor Alexandra Simmons. Right there, she's got a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to her. And she went over her story about being a teenager, being able to communicate with spirits, being able to communicate with beings at a higher density, spirit guides, and beings of a higher dimension. And they were with her entire life. She was a troubled teen, by the way. She had a lot of emotional problems, a lot of drug issues. She was consumed by a bad family environment. Her mother was a drug abuser as well. And her mother married a person who was a highfalutin military contractor during the George Bush II administration, during Iraq War Part 2. So this girl on screen, her mother married her stepfather. This girl's on screen. Stepfather was a highfalutin, big-time military contractor. Had a lot of pull, a lot of influence in Washington, D.C., and sold tanks, Humvees, and other military hardware. And this girl went over her story about being in this house where there was a lot of shenanigans going on. She claims to be able to read people's auras and sense their intentions and kind of see who they are. Whether it's a bad aura from somebody, or if she can kind of look into their eyes and kind of gauge their personality and intent. And what she saw from this her stepfather was nothing but bad intent and a lot of evil. She didn't say he's evil, but that's kind of what I was saying. A lot of evilness, I should say. And there's my dog, Hannah. I'm going to close this door. You gotta stay out. You gotta stay out. Yeah, I can't have dogs barking on the show. I got enough noises. I don't need any more noises, okay?
Stop the hammering.
Yeah, dog, stop the hammering. So anyways, this woman went over her experiences of living in this house with her stepdad being a military contractor, her mom being a drug abuser, and trying to be the perfect housewife, and in trying to come to terms with everything that she saw. She saw various people coming and going from a house, going into their basement, and what she thought at that young age was having her parents were and step parents were having various dangerous or crazy sexual fantasies down in the basement, filming it, hardcore bondage, and what she assumed were like some sexual rituals. So what does this got to do with alien abductions and military abductions? Well, this woman also claims to have been abducted throughout her life by various different extraterrestrial races, and also what she can say without a doubt, the military. And she makes a clear distinction on who is abducting her at what time. She didn't experience missing time like a lot of other abductees, where people like Travis Walton from Missing a Fire in the Sky story, where he had a hard time recollecting initially what happened to him when he was abducted. He had to go through some, I think, hypnotic regression and just a lot of time to recover some of those memories. To her, it just kind of like, I can remember. It's not like it was as clear as day, but she had a good idea what happened to her when she was abducted. And during her abduction experiences, she was at least from the let's go from on the military side first. When she was abducted, the military abductions to her were to collect samples from her, like samples of her uterus, her eggs, and DNA samples, in order to, in her opinion, clone and figure out how she's able to use her mind, her extrasensory abilities, how she's able to communicate with spirits, how she's able to sense people's intentions and use her consciousness and like a oneness. People, like, we hear stories like, oh, you can move objects with your mind, or you can have clairvoyance. People can do remote viewing just by closing her eyes for a few seconds and be able to do that. She apparently is able to do all these remarkable things. And the military wanted to know how the fuck she could do this. Well, the military only knew that she could do this by, first, they had to find out who she was. Well, I suspect that the military who do these abductions as well as aliens, the military watches the aliens and see who they abduct, and then in turn, the military abducts the same people to find out what the fuck the aliens are doing. So the aliens come down, they snatch her up, they do the whole process on her. I think what her understanding of the alien abductions was, it was much more, some of them were much more friendly and a lot more enlightening in experience, whereas the military abductions were a lot more clinical, a lot more sterile, a lot more cold. And when she would wake up during some of these military abductions, she saw that she was in a room with other kids her age, other teenagers her age, or in her age range. And very similar things were going on. They were trying to find out how these people could use their mind in the way that they could. And she also recalled being taken to military hangars where UFOs were. And they asked her to activate these UFOs with her mind, or touch one, see if you can turn it on. Can you move this UFO with your mind? And it sounds absolutely bizarre and crazy, but then you try to, as you watch and consume as much stuff as I do, you kind of put it all together. And I remember a little segment from Greer, Dr. Greer's most recent documentary, Unacknowledged. And there's a part in here that I'll play for you about the alien false flags. And I'll go back and I'll just play this audio clip. It's about a minute here. And I'll play the second one. And I'll try to tie this around to Taylor Alexandra's military abductions. Here we go, his audio piece.
They could pull it off. They could definitely pull it off. Right now, they have the technology to mimic the form, fit, and function of extraterrestrial UFOs. They have the technology, absolutely. It's seamless, and you can never tell the difference. If they do have a false flag invasion, they're going to use one of these. This is the Hudson Valley Boomerang. This is 1982 to 1989. Over 25,000 eyewitnesses reported this craft. They can use the saucers, the cigars, the pyramids, the triangles as a united coalition, and that's how they're going to do it. We're talking about 150 to 172 feet across for the wingspan, which is the identical wingspan of the B-2 stealth bomber. So the question we need to ask is, was some of that $22.4 billion used on the B-2 poured into this program? It's the exact same time frame. When they power up and when they accelerate, it looks like a spark off a grinding wheel, and you could never know the difference. So if they wanted to hoax an alien invasion, they could do it, and they could do it in a way that's 100% believable.
Now, the woman I was just talking about, Taylor, she claims that the military uses the black triangles, which is up on screen right here, and that its power source is at the center of the triangle, and that is also where they can pull people up into the craft and lower them down. And I suspect that anybody who listens to the show knows that I believe that the U.S. military has far more advanced technology than our standard flying aircraft, like the F-15 Hornet. Way past that, hundreds of years past that. And that these military abductions are taking place because they got some technology that they don't exactly know how to use. I suspect it all goes back to the deal supposedly that Truman and or Eisenhower, the Majestic 12 deal, where the aliens came down and said, hey, we want to abduct some people, and in exchange, we will give you some of our technology. And I think our higher-ups said, great, we would love some alien technology. The caveat was that the extraterrestrials didn't show them how to use it, and that this high-tech stuff required the operator to use their consciousness, their intention, and to be at one with the vehicle in order to operate these vehicles. So the military got all these pieces of equipment that they didn't know how to operate. It gave them ideas on where to go next with technology, but they couldn't operate the vehicles themselves. It gave them ideas for new propulsion or new ways to build craft, and they were able to replicate some things, but not the entire craft that were given to them. And they don't know how to manipulate, like the average pilot doesn't know how to manipulate these saucer craft with their minds. So they need people like Taylor and the people who can use their mind and communicate with the other dimensions to operate these UFO crafts. And so the U.S. military built these black triangles to figure out, well, who can do this, and then how do we reproduce what they can do by using their DNA. So I'll play the second clip of from Dr. Greer's documentary, Unacknowledged, and this might go into the military abductions.
They started doing all kinds of psychological warfare entrainment of the public by staging hoaxed events, such as cattle mutilations. Oh, it's a flying saucer who did that. It's a covert paramilitary program, human. So if you wanted to start indoctrinating people into a false threat from outer space that Werner von Braun warned us about, you would start staging events that look alien, but that are completely man-made, that are scary and scare the hell out of people.
UFO encounters are categorized into 4 groups. Close encounters of the 4th kind include people who claim to have been abducted by extraterrestrials. If you had a close encounter of the 4th kind and you are back, we're anxious to hear from you.
I am.
Inner stage left, you got these sort of anti-gravity devices with creatures that look like ETs that are actually man-made robotic systems. They're called programmed life forms. And you start doing select interfaces with the public.
We did do that, yes. OSI did that. There was a special group out of the 7602nd Air Intel Wing at Fort Belvoir that came out and did that. They had these people that had maybe some sort of defects, anatomical defects that were brought in to to fool people and thinking they're aliens. Yeah. I can't give you any specifics because the program is still classified, and they probably still doing it. I wouldn't doubt it. They were still doing it.
Right there, Dr. Greer is saying that, hey, these are military cattle mutilations, military abduction scenarios. They're doing it to indoctrinate the public. I don't think that's true. I think what this woman is saying is much more true, is that they're abducting people for research purposes to figure out how to use this technology they originally got back in the 60s. Yeah, they can replicate certain aspects of it, but not everything about it. Her story is very fascinating. It is. You can check it on GAIA TV. There's a few clips of it on YouTube. I'll put the phone lines right up in 614-388-9109. And there are other aspects to her story about her being sent away to this very elite private military school where everything she described seemed like an MK Ultra brainwashing operation, where everything was about repetition and rituals and seances and chanting. And she was there for 7 days, and her mom got her out because her mom and the parents are required to go along with this program for these. It's a troubled teen program, and I'll bring it up on screen. And there you can go to wwaspsurvivors.com and read about these kids who have escaped from this program and got out and are telling their stories. And I'll play a little bit of this. But it's so absolutely bizarre. I can't play as Flash. It's bizarre. I can't play Flash. I don't have Flash installed. But this program that she was a part of just for 7 days, everything she described that was going on at the school, and then everything that the parents had to do at the same time seemed like one big occult practice. There were people there were people in robes. There's chanting. If you were bad, you were sent to a shed to live without food or water for 48 hours. It is absolutely insane that these people, these elites, were sending their children there to be brainwashed. I mean, and she was part of a highfalutin military contracting family. And it takes me back to, like, why, if you even if you had a troubled kid and they were going through depression and had maybe substance abuse issues, why would you send them to a military school where it's nothing about repetition and brainwashing, and it's out in the middle of nowhere in one of the Carolinas, and you had to fight tooth and nail to get your kid out of there if you really wanted? It's like, you almost sign your kid over to some MK Ultra program and only to be activated later. Absolutely bizarre. And she did a 2-part series on Regina Meredith, and I was just captivated the entire time. Everything she said was like, wow, this is a nice parallel to what Greer is doing. Although Dr. Greer thinks that this is all he believes that UFOs are real, but he also thinks that the military is using UFOs as some kind of Project Bloombeam hoax scenario to get the public ready for something. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the government's ever going to come clean with what they got. That would absolutely change everything. So to go back to what Taylor was saying, I'll put this up on screen. You can listen to her talk just for a second so you can hear her voice. She didn't say much in this clip.
A friend of a friend said, she's got some brain damage. This is exactly how my boyfriend acted when he got in a car wreck. You need to take her into the hospital. And my mom said, not after, literally 2 seconds after she got that out of her mouth, I started having a seizure on her floor.
She was talking about when she tried to commit suicide because all the abductions and all her entire life just got to be too much for her. And that's when she went over to the other side, had her near-death experience, and came back. She came back and she managed to get out of a coma that she was in for about a month after eating about 100 Tylenols. And her liver was completely destroyed. She was completely emaciated. barely surviving. And she had an incredible story about coming back from the other side. She did go on to say that when she was abducted by aliens, the baddies were the reptilians, and that the reptilians had the intent to destroy the goodness within mankind. It wasn't about like necessarily harvesting our DNA when it comes to the reptilians. It was about destroying the human psyche. And she said that she didn't say it exactly, but I suspected that the ruling elite, the people who want to harness and the people who are doing these military abductions are working. This is all one long theory that if the U.S. military and the higher ups are in cahoots with an alien civilization, it would be the reptilian, the baddies. They want to get the job done. They'll do it at any cost. And the reptilians want this ability as well. They have some technology, but they want the consciousness. They want to be able to see other dimensions and communicate with higher forms and travel through thought and intention. It gets crazy once she gets into the chanting and the seances at this WWASP school. Fucking bizarre stuff. And this is where the UFO phenomenon and then the spirituality, the government conspiracy, and politics all get involved in some weird way. It gets in the very eyes wide shut scenario. And it's when you it's tough not to consider all possibilities when you go down the rabbit hole of UFOs and are talking about not just like the gray aliens, like the cute little gray aliens, but then you have to deal with the reptoids and then the government elite. But she suspected from a young age that she was being groomed for some sort of, I would say, child sacrifice or some kind of child ritualistic activity. She actually said she met Dick Cheney, shook his hand, felt ice cold, and she said the guy just his Dick Cheney's aura was just nothing but evil and nothing but like this badness. And I can see that. I don't think Dick Cheney's a good guy. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy you can sit around and have a beer with. I don't think medically he can, for one. I don't think he's allowed to have beer. I think he has a heart that just circulates blood. It doesn't pump. Dick Cheney does not have a pulse. Blood just courses throughout his body. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Caller, go ahead.
You gotta warn people.
Hey.
What's going on, buddy?
What you doing?
Talking about alien. What's going on with you?
Nothing.
All right. How can I help you tonight, huh?
You want to talk about aliens?
Well, that's what I was talking about.
You were talking about my labs, aliens, mind control, WASP survivors.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I was
kind of confusing.
Yeah, well, it all ties back to a talk that I watched with Taylor's Alexandra Simmons, a survivor of all this stuff.
Do you ever occur to you that maybe they're full of shit?
That's possible. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What about Greer?
What about him?
Do you think did you just watch that his last documentary?
Unacknowledged. I watched it about right when it came out, about 7 months ago, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't finish it.
It could have been edited. It could have been a little bit more tightly edited. But I thought there were some good parts in it. He got some good people to speak. I just played a clip of it about the alien false flags and the military abductions. There's some fascinating pieces. I don't agree with everything he says.
Guy or anything, but by the time they flashed his piece on his hip, I was kind of like, okay.
What did they do? I missed that. What did they do?
Yeah, he has like a gun on his hip.
Dr. Greer does?
Like as Yes.
He's
As
a
if.
he's a cowboy.
Yes, like a cowboy.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe he thinks his life's in danger.
I think he thinks that, but
Yeah.
is it?
Well, I don't know. You could ask Alex Jones, and he thinks his life is in danger.
Well, his life probably isn't.
We're all getting killed here.
Yeah. What do you think? So what do you think with the alien abductions? Is it bullshit? Are military abductions bullshit? What's your take?
The alien abductions are real. I don't know about the MyLabs.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's something that's like been thrown in there to muddy the waters, almost. But like people encountering, like the typical gray alien, that's kind of like an android type. Well, I've seen one myself.
Well, I mean, the waters are pretty goddamn muddy at this point. It's like military abductions. You have super secret technology by the military. You've seen an alien. What am I supposed to believe here? So, like,
well, I think that the abduction phenomenon is genuine, but have you noticed how it's kind of like just dropped off the map completely?
Yeah, people really don't talk about it too much anymore.
I mean, it was like totally the 90s was all about, alien abductions. And then all of a sudden, there's a sea change and there's no abductions anymore. And, I don't know what to think.
I don't know if there's no abductions anymore or if it's not being promoted as much as it used to be. There's things that still happen. People still do the things they always done. It's just not being promoted as much on the media or in TV shows.
Really? You think that television or media has any credibility or say in this in the internet age?
Well, well, obviously it does. I mean, look at CNN. Look at how it's being promoted. And I mean, yeah, I think it doesn't. I don't know if that's credibility, but it certainly does have push. It has a footprint on pop culture.
So, how's the no smoking going?
Pretty good. I haven't smoked since Thursday.
Yeah, I heard.
What's that?
Hey, I did want to. I said I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to say something. Who was it that called up and was asking about your girlfriend?
That was Strokey Bill.
Strokey. That was so over the top, obnoxious.
Yeah, I mean,
you were a really good sport, but really, why does he want to know?
I think Bill wants to.
I mean, I think your personal life is, somewhat interesting. If you're like, yeah, hey, I've got a girlfriend, she's got a daughter. Well, that's interesting.
Look, I mean, I will talk about the things I'm comfortable talking about. I don't know why he was harping on it so much. I suspect he just wants to create some controversy and just to try to, I guess, try to do something scandalous like Howard Stern-esque, and that's not exactly what I do.
I like how he did not get under your skin whatsoever. It was hilarious.
Well,
you were just like, oh,
I just don't. Unless I don't know what I don't know what people can do to really get under my skin. I mean, I guess they can call me names or whatnot. Like,
oh yeah, it says in the chat, I hope someone abducts this caller.
Yes, please.
That's already happened. I'm on the craft right now.
Well, you did have a story where you were living on 4th Avenue, right? And you saw a UFO and you had your abduction experience. Was it during that sighting?
Well, that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened.
Listen, I think I may have been abducted.
Basically, it becomes, episodes like that become very disjointed.
Yeah.
Like, you'll remember this happening, and then you're like, well, when did that happen? And then by the next day, you're like, I don't remember the rest of the night at all. And I don't know if I told you, but I had asked my friend about it 20 years later. I said, what did we do for the rest of the night? Well, I thought we just sat around watching UFOs for the rest of the night. I was like, no, I don't think so. So I don't know what happened. And that's the thing. Is that an abduction?
Unless
I don't remember being aboard a craft.
It's tough to say. I got a lot of memories I can't place. I mean, there have some disjointed memories. I do disjointed podcast episodes every week, so it's tough to say.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And you do a great job.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do you have anything else that you want to get off your chest before we move on?
It would take too long. Maybe some other time.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mike.
Right,
have a good night.
Bye.
Do not fully understand.
There he goes. Yeah, well, look, I am all over the place. When you talk about military abductions and UFO abductions and MK Ultra, I guess I should just like start of the show. Go watch this GAIA TV episode, and then come back, and we'll discuss it on the show together. Read an essay for me, 3 pages, and then we'll talk about it. All right.
Go screw yourself, asswipe.
All right, yeah. I talked about that enough. I will put a link in the description. I already put a link in the description to this woman. I don't know if there's a GAIA TV link I could give you for that episode. I'll see if I'll dig it up. It's like, I think it's season 7 that it happened on. And we'll move on and talk about some Reddit.
Hey now. The shampoo. The shampoo. That's what I do.
All right. But maybe the caller was right. Maybe that person I was talking about, Taylor Alexandra Simmons, is full of shit. I don't think so. I want to believe. People, I want to believe. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. But at least believing allows for somewhat fun topics of conversation. I hope. Fingers crossed, you pieces of shit. You got that? Thank you.
Yeah, that's how you pimp so good.
All right, let's talk about Reddit and everything going on. Our conspiracy. This is the hot topics on Reddit. Oh boy, I've been on Reddit Conspiracy for years. I rarely post. Maybe I should post more. But it has been Shill Farm, Shill Fest 2000, and it doesn't seem like you really get to any of the juicy conspiracies, and there's a lot of vote manipulation going on there. But let's take a look and see what's going on. Reddit, all right. And top post is with regards to a post removed on the subreddit today by the Reddit admins in relation to David Hogg. Now, Mr. Hogg he is right now a teenager in Florida, has been out there on CNN saying, hey, we need gun legislation. And I think today he announced he's not going to go back to school until they pass new gun laws. So I don't know. Maybe he's just never going to go back to school again. Maybe he's going to have a 16-year-old education forever. Probably reads better than I do. All right. Number 2 right here, the real conspiracy behind the Florida shooting. What is the real conspiracy behind the Florida shooting? What is the real one? And so this is a big, long post that was actually covered on No Agenda yesterday. And it has to do with Broward County, and I think even Dade County, not prosecuting, not arresting kids and people to artificially lower the violent crime rate, or just the crime rate in general. So if they don't arrest people and they don't charge people, then it looks like no crime is going on. And so therefore, it's one of the safest counties in America. And they even have like a media advisor right there. There's some backroom deals going on to not prosecute kids, or if you happen to arrest a kid that had some drugs on him, make sure you get rid of that. And that's probably why those cops did not rush in to the school. It's because they probably were the best, probably, in my opinion, the best corrupt cops. And they certainly didn't want to get shot over something that wasn't supposed to be happening. They were there to hide drugs and make sure any crime that took place wasn't recorded. so they could get those numbers up. All right, another. But even here, even in the real conspiracy behind it, you can take a look at the all this stuff, and this post is good. This is why it comes to this up. This is like one of the better posts that's happened on our conspiracy in a long time. But yeah, InfoWars received YouTube termination over crisis actor video, and YouTube. We talked about that on the last show. That CNN's been going after Alex Jones and InfoWars about claiming of a possibility of crisis actors being sent into Florida. And I had a YouTube comment said, "Why would they use crisis actors?" Well, I mean, you use post-production techniques to pump up a story. You use post-production to add special effects or add additional storylines or reshoots. Like a lot of Hollywood movies, they're like, "Oh God, we have a finished product here," and shit, go back and add some new scenes in there, punch it up with some reshoots. That's what crisis actors would do, to punch it up. I don't know if that's taking place in Florida. I haven't seen any evidence of that, but we have seen evidence of possibly some scripted questions, and certainly CNN taking the lead on a lot of the stuff. This is another big one here that's been going around. Wait, this witness 20 feet from the shooter said the shooter, was dressed in full body armor. And let's see if we can actually listen to... Is there a link here? Or is it a picture? It's just a picture, of course. They actually couldn't provide a link to that. I think there's a link to that in the Slack chat, which I'm not going to go into right now. Probably should, but I'm not going to. This is Reddit Rundown. This is what Reddit provides. They should have just provided a link to the video right there. But the comments on this are great. Caller, go ahead.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
This man claims he has been to the year 5000.
That is correct. Hi, Jordan. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Stop the hammering.
Oh, good. I'm just reading down some Reddit bullshit. And
good old Reddit.
It is. I mean, look, we cover a lot of things from Reddit conspiracy, and it's tough not to talk about it because that's kind of what's happening in the conspiracy realm by default. I do check other sources for stuff, but by and large, it's got so much traffic that it is unavoidable.
See, I don't know. I'm kind of split between Reddit and 4chan, or maybe even 8chan. Probably 4chan or 8chan. I visit both.
Yeah.
Some kind of conspiracy or some kind of hot topic or pretty decent shit posted. But yeah, I wanted to call. What was it? I guess it was a few days ago. You and Joe were talking about this whole gun control thing, and my question would have been when I called, if I was able to get to you guys, was I find it interesting that this gun debate always seems to happen when it relates to, and I'm not going to go racial or anything, but it does seem like it always seems to pop up whenever it's predominantly either white or white-looking kids.
Because there's black people.
Because they're getting killed by these mass shooters who, I wouldn't say all the time are white, but either they look white or, like in this case, Nicholas Cruz, I'm assuming he's white Hispanic. But I just find it interesting that all these gun debates always pop up, but yet they don't seem to pop up when it's like, I don't know, maybe 200 Chicago black kids getting shot by, well, mostly the blacks. And I always find it interesting that they don't really talk about gun control or this whole gun debate when it relates to, let's just say, brown-skinned folks here in America when it comes to, like, mass shootings. Because I count any shooting as mass shooting. I mean, if it's like, let's go for Chicago, what? You can have, like, 60 people shot in one day and maybe 30 out of 60 die. You don't get to hear about that in the local news, but I don't see no bald-headed Hispanic girl who looks like I'm sorry, it could be a boy because, you know, the whole gender dysphoria that's going on right now.
Thank you for being sensitive.
But hey, I want to be respectful to this young lady, or I'm sorry, them, they, whatever. But it's like, and then of course David Hogg and his little shenanigans. But it's like, I don't really see these people whining and crying and yelling and screaming about banning what seems like all guns in this country when it comes to the brown kids.
No, they certainly they don't. It's only when something like this happens at a school does the media really fall lockstep in with everyone else. It's almost like it's programmed that way. It's almost as if, Jordan, that the media and everyone doesn't care about black people.
Oh, no, don't say that, Mike. Don't.
Well, I mean, listen, I just brought up on my screen here 4 killed, 21 wounded in shootings across Chicago since Friday night. And that was 9 hours ago. So is that a mass shooting, or is that just a lot of shooting happen? I guess that's a mass violence. I don't know if it's a mass shooting.
Well, I think, isn't it like a definition? Because I was hearing something they were talking about with this, what's his name? David Hogg was saying that there's been 18 school shootings. And then when I researched, it was like, no, several of those shootings were like near the campus, or it was a guy who killed himself near the campus and no one was injured except, this Florida one. There was one that started in January where a kid, I think he did kill 2 of the kids. But other than that, it was like these numbers that they keep coming up are like mass shootings.
Well, I have the definition here. I have the definition here if you want to hear it.
Let's go for it.
So this is according to Bing. Mass shooting refers to an incident involving multiple victims of gun violence. The Congressional Research Service acknowledged that there is not a broadly accepted definition and uses of definitions of a public mass shooting if 4 or more people are actually killed, not including the perpetrator, echoing the FBI's definition of the term mass murderer. So the shooter can't kill himself and can't be included in that number.
Well, that sucks.
So 4 or more. But, I mean, mass shooting, it said you could have, so like a mass shooting, you could kill or shoot 50 people and none of them died, and it wouldn't meet this definition. Let me see this.
So I wonder, so then I guess I wonder would people be protesting and marching? No one died, but several people got shot.
Because in this definition that 4 or more people are actually killed. But if you shoot 100 people and no one dies, is it a mass shooting according to this definition? I would say that's the most mass shooting. God. It's not. The problem is with Chicago. They write it off as gang violence and drug violence, and that's just the way it is. And there's no solving it. And so why even bother with it? That's what the media says. They're basically writing off those people.
So, but then they could advocate for, because now I over the years now I've really been invested in eventually getting a gun. I don't know if I'm withdrawing the NRA or anything like that, but I do want to get a gun for self-protection.
Have you considered buying a bazooka? I've heard they're pretty good.
They're cheap, like at least $50.
No, they're not cheap. I don't think you can legally buy a bazooka. Well, you can. I think you got to get a Class 3 license.
Damn.
And then you could. I think you have to have a storefront and go through a lot of paperwork. So legally you can. It just takes a lot of motherfucking paperwork.
And then I guess they'll take those away when the next mass explosion or RPG kind of massacre happens. Damn.
I don't know.
God damn it.
You got anything else on your mind?
Other than poor my daddy Alex. Daddy Alex for getting this one strike by that cuck news.
It's here, baby.
CNN. Thank you, Daddy.
Yeah.
But man, I hate to hear what's going on with Alex, and I just hope that him and it affects us all too. In the end, if they could take him down, they'll just start eventually take anyone else that they feel like, oh, we don't like what you're saying because it's conspiracy theory. It's not like the Russian collusion. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's based on facts. But other than that,
I'm with you there.
8 inches.
I'm with you there that if they can take down Alex Jones, then What's life going to be like for Midnight Mike and Joe and Clown Baby? It's not going to be good.
Man. No.
But the one thing that keeps us safe is that we talk about UFOs and Bigfoot.
And Bigfoot dick. Well, at least
especially Bigfoot dick. Yeah, especially that.
You sons of bitches!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But other than that, peace out, Mike. I'll catch up with the rest of the vid. And
all right, talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Look at my sausage.
There he goes. There goes Jordan. Yeah, and look, the whole mass shooting thing, gun debate thing is, geez. Hard to make heads or tails of it sometimes. What's going on? So back to Reddit conspiracy, like active shooter. Some of the more I like to look at controversial. That's where people don't disagree on what's a good conspiracy post on Reddit conspiracy. A lot of Trump things going on there. On in there, there's a lot of Hillary things going on there. It's just there's a lot of shilling that goes on there. Like I noticed that when there actually is a good piece, like what we saw with the Broward County trying to artificially reduce crime rates, you don't see the typical shills in there. They're not asking for more evidence. They're not dismissing it as some kind of like Russian hoax. They keep quiet. It's only when the suit, like, because you can understand that trying to artificially keep the crime rate low to get more tax dollars or to pronounce your county the safest in America, so more people would want to move there, so property tax revenue would go up. I get that. There's a good business model there. They don't. How are they going to combat that? Or like, yeah, it makes sense. And then you have a post here when the R. Donald is becoming more conspiratorial than our conspiracy. Well, that's a good thing. That's an absolute good thing. People should be more conspiratorial. Caller, go ahead.
I just have 1 second, but I wanted to say something that I was thinking about earlier.
Oh, yeah?
I was thinking about how when all this shit started, and I was just thinking about the whole timeline of everything. And I was thinking about Seth Rich because Joe Rogan said Seth Rich's name like twice in the last 2 weeks on his podcast. And anyway, I was just kind of thinking about some stuff, and I'm like, what happened to that witch fucking Debbie Wasserman Schultz? So I Google Debbie Wasserman Schultz, scroll down what district is she over? Broward County. I'm like,
wow.
No fucking way. I mean, obviously she's not anymore. She was removed from 2016 to lead on the DNC, but it just so happens to be a coincidence that, you know, the person that, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but it's funny because I looked it up for that exact reason, and just so happened to be that's the county that she was in. So,
wow.
I mean, you remember that.
That political footprint could leave a long mark. I mean, it could leave a mark long after she's gone. So she probably has ties to the community.
You remember there was that guy Weisenhunt or whatever his name was. He was like some federal prosecutor or something, and he just winds up dead on the beach. They said from blunt force trauma to the head.
Well, yeah.
And they said it was he was either hit with something or it was a gunshot wound to the head.
He went swimming with his baseball bat. That's what happens.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just way out on the limb here, but it's just a huge coincidence that it just happens to be her county that this shit's going down in, you know. I
think you're correct, and I think all your wacky assumptions are probably true. And there's probably some kind of kickback here. There's got to be money involved to artificially reduce the crime rate and then hire these cops who don't really want to do anything but hide evidence.
I mean, here's the thing. Those guys, you don't have 4 cops stand outside and nobody does anything. That just doesn't happen, man. You can't. I am a conspiracy theorist, but I really hate to believe that those people did just sit out there and not go help those children on purpose.
It's pretty fucked up to think that would happen.
You're either a real fucking pussy or you did this shit on purpose. And whenever it starts leading back and then Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the gun, you know, it's just, It's one big fucking narrative, man. It's just the same story. It's just a new chapter, you know? All the same fucking...
I would hate to think that I would hate to think that they said, "Oh, there's a real active shooter in there. Let's just hang back here and hope this whole thing blows over." I don't want to believe that they're that evil or cowardice. I want to hope. But the opposite is even worse. Is that they were told to stand down.
Exactly. And that's what I'm more worried about. Man. Anyway, but I got to get, but I appreciate the show. I actually haven't caught any of the show, but I'm going to get back and catch up on everything, so I appreciate it, man.
All right. Have a good night. Bye.
Please, God, free us from them.
Yeah. The whole situation is fucked up. That's why sometimes it's a little bit a nice, fun detour to talk about alien abductions and military abductions. Like, that's any more fun. Jesus Christ, that's just as demonic and evil. Being taken up into the sky and being totally ravaged and used and abused and bent over tables and being just ravaged over and over again by multiple different aliens, multiple different societies and civilizations spanning eons and millions of years. Oh my God. Caller, go ahead.
What is up, Mike? Cherry subject, Teddy Spaghetti.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. I'm kind of looking at this with a different twist. Maybe put a different twist on this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about guns on one side, and then they're talking about mental health on the other.
Yeah.
And, you know, they got that CRISPR stuff coming out, that gene editing, where you could probably go and get some of the genes that might cause mental illness out. So do you think they'll make it mandatory, like if they go the other route for mental illness, to sort of like if you're predisposed to mental illness, we got to edit those genes because look at all these mass shootings. That way we keep the guns. But here's the thing. I think there's some of those studies that say that the same genes that contribute to mental illness are actually also the same genes that helps with great intellect. Like a lot of times that's mixed. Do you think this is like a way to sort of just get our guns or dumb down the culture? Like that's what I'm wondering. Is this where it's all going?
I tend to believe that people who suffer from a little bit of mental illness, those are some of the more, I would say, minds in society that produce good art or innovators or something like that. A lot of artists are not right in the head sometimes. So I think removing that gene is ultimately not good for society. But I just brought up on the screen here. Here's a headline here. Panel recommends mandatory depression screening for teens and tweens. Mandatory depression screening.
That means they're going to be put on a lot more drugs.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, see, that's even worse because these drugs, I can't stand them. I had doctors play with me when I was like 14 because, of puberty depression type of bullshit. And they put me on Prozac at 14. I was hallucinating, thinking the dean of my school was coming to my house to shoot me with a 6-shooter where I was wearing a cowboy hat. And then later on that night, I was out in the yard killing UFOs with a flashlight. That's what Prozac did to me at 14.
What alternate universe is this?
Yes.
Oh my God! If you're not unbalanced, it unbalances you.
Yeah, I can imagine. I was on Chantix on 2013, maybe 2012. I did it twice. I don't remember the exact years, but it fucked with me so hard. I don't remember segments of like a month or two, and I know I played a show once. I played a Battle Axe. I was told that I wasn't acting normal. I don't remember segments of my life. And I obviously went to my job and I played a few gigs and I did some podcasts, but I didn't fucking feel right. I didn't feel right. I had to get off that shit.
Yeah, that's like the one thing I disagree on, Jordan Peterson on. He's a real proponent of some of these mood stabilizers, and I've been a victim of what I call the medication shuffle. As a kid, and that oh God, it is so scary to lose grip on reality because of medication. To truly be insane and then come out of that, and to know that you were insane because of medication, it is so. There's no real word for the fear that goes through the fact that you could be put in that situation again. It's worrisome to me. This mental. We need to do something about mental health, but I think we're going about it the wrong way with the drugs.
I think it's in my opinion, is overprescribed because it's a quick fix. Everyone wants a quick fix. Everyone doesn't want to put in the hard work of actually, trying to make your life better through either just working out or meditation or going to therapy. Everyone wants the quick fix. Much like I was talking about with the military abductions earlier, the military wants a quick fix to pilot these UFOs by abducting people to figure out how their mind works. No, these motherfuckers got to get right with themselves and figure out how to meditate, and then you'll be able to pilot these crafts. It's that simple. But
yeah, of course, mind to machine interface. I mean, that's obvious.
Everyone wants a quick fix to get what they want, and sometimes a little pill is going to do that. I'm not saying medication probably works great for a lot of people, but screening, but putting together a panel for teens who are depressed. I don't know. I was a teenager once, believe it, and I was depressed.
I don't think there's a teenager that's ever been on Earth that didn't go through depression.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fucking milestone. You learn life's a little shitty, and then you get over it.
You hope you do.
Yeah, that's true. You hope you're equipped to do.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I got, Mike.
All right, thank you very much.
Wanted to bring just a different look on this because they're coming after our guns and they're coming after our minds, and maybe in this way they're trying to go one or the other. I just wanted to bring that up.
You gotta warn people.
You gotta warn people. It's all happening.
All right, Teddy. Have a good night. Appreciate it.
You too. Peace.
All right. Gonna be winding down the show here. This show in a completely different direction than I thought, but that's good. I mean, this is your show as it is mine. I just record the show and take phone calls. That's it. Not a big deal here, people. Yeah, this is scary. Panel recommends mandatory depression screening for teens. Oh, boy. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Oh, boy. And I always want to check Reddit New. Reddit Conspriacy New. Oh, my God. They got some good stuff on here, and probably some of the better ones. Why do we protect our airports and banks and our government buildings, but not our schools? You meet the Democrats, and they're always fighting with the criminal. They're not fighting with law. Okay. They post a lot of our conspiracy has turned into our politics. There's so many politics going on. Is that if you criticize Hillary, you're a Trump supporter. If you criticize Trump, you're from blue. You're share blue. You're a shill poster. You're a bot. And then everyone's a Russian if you disagree with either one of those. Holy moly. You can't have just a fucking regular opinion without being called a name. Jesus, the first caller called up and said, Mike, he basically said, Mike, are you stupid for believing in military abductions and cattle mutilations? You believe in this woman that I was talking about, Taylor Alexandra Simmons. He called me stupid for daring to entertain what she was saying. I think he also called me stupid for watching Stephen Greer's documentary and believing in parts of that. Jeez. Meanwhile, he was abducted by aliens. Stupid. My Lord.
I do not fully understand.
Here's an interesting thing here. Non-HIV AIDS now confirmed in Asia. What does that mean? Non-HIV AIDS? They're just handing out HIV for free? I don't know what that means. Non-HIV AIDS. Or it's just AIDS without the HIV progression. So you just can get AIDS out of the blue. That's fucking crazy.
He's got AIDS.
In a battle against HIV and AIDS that has you fried since I just want the fucking video, CNN, and they don't have a link here. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, newsrescue.com. Newsrescue.com brought us that link. They should just link to the CNN article. That's fine. The Israeli art students that try to gain access to secure facilities all over the United States. From salon.com, huh? That doesn't sound very friendly. That doesn't sound like how an ally should act to one another, huh? Here's another one here. Is the accusation that Trump supporters are more or less white supremacists true? This is on our conspiracy. Okay. And I like this one. Microsatellite to inspect if Americans did land on the moon. I like this.
It's soon to be half a century since humanity made that proverbial giant leap to the moon.
Going to the moon.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Hands down about the fourth rung up.
All right.
There you go.
Get on the moon, you asshole. Why don't you
it's beautiful.
walk around a little bit? Great, you're on the moon.
Oh, geez, that's great. Is the lighting halfway decent? Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now.
And the lighting's nice. How's the camera?
Back to the here and now. Decades on after that Apollo mission, a group of Russian space enthusiasts and engineers are embarking on a quest of their own. They're planning to send a microsatellite to the moon to get some real high-resolution footage of the remains of that American landing.
Yeah, let's see this motherfucker. We get a shot of this? How are they going to do this shit? Put me on the moon. I want to go. What, are they going to play music and animations to get us there? The Russians are going. They're going to send a Russian troll? This is a Russian troll. We're being trolled.
Well, that's the theory, at least. Here's how they came up with the idea.
As a blogger, I talk to lots of people on the internet about cosmos, and I've noticed that it is a frequent topic. If the Americans flew to the moon or not, was the Apollo on the moon or not? All the points have already been made by both sides. Some believe they did not fly, others claim they did, and no one can actually convince each other. I was so bored with listening about the flag, the ground, the rockets. So I thought, guys, let's just fly there and have a look. We can argue forever. The moon hasn't gone anywhere. If the Americans have actually been on the moon, everything should still be there. Let's stop wasting time on the internet. We'd better collect money, build a satellite, and have a look ourselves.
Researchers now then crowdfunding their project seem to have already gathered $15,000, which is supposedly enough to complete the project.
$15,000 is enough to complete the project. Are they going to actually go to the moon or just build a satellite to look at the moon?
Why? Well, because they say no booster rockets needed. That's usually the most expensive part. The engineers instead plan to tag their lightweight micro module onto a government-financed satellite. Nonetheless, the engineers still know they will have plenty of challenges ahead.
Yes. Plenty of challenges. Okay. Like getting into space and somehow navigating past orbital platform weapons that want to take this motherfucker down. Jesus. Come on. All right. I am going to get out of here. That's my time on Night Talk Live. Hold on. Night Talk Live. Thank you. All right. I'm going to get out of here. All right. Here we go. All right. Yeah, I'll see if I'll post a link in the description to the season and episode of the chat with that woman I was talking about on GAIA TV. Just waste your time. It's interesting stuff. You don't have to believe it. I'm not telling you you gotta believe it. I'm just telling you gotta believe it. And you gotta warn people.
You gotta warn people!
Please!
Go screw yourself, asswipe.
Hey, what's up, caller?
Hey, Mike. Stan Anchorage.
Hey, what's up, Stan?
Hey, just talking about a quick little moon talk.
Sure.
One of the interesting conspiracy theories I heard is that all those craters on the moon are actually impact craters, but they're actually volcanoes.
Interesting. Okay.
But I don't know how much you can actually believe in that kind of thing. But I did see a thing, too, about how much water that's probably on the moon just getting right below the surface all over it. So if you were going to do some sort of mission out to the moon, there should be ample water. It's just a matter of how you're going to extract it and make livable quantities out of it.
Yeah, you got to take enough equipment out there to dig and excavate and build a base under the surface of the moon, presumably, and somehow build some kind of plant that would transform, I would assume, icy water or ice into water.
Yeah, well, the most important thing you'd have to do is you have to set your moonshine stations up there.
Yeah,
obviously.
moonshine stations. Absolutely. Good call. Yeah.
Moonshining on the moon. Oh, yeah.
I wonder, you couldn't just melt the ice and then drink it because it'd have, like, who knows? It's probably irradiated in some way, right?
Well, you think about if the moon has no atmosphere and that stuff's just sitting a few inches below there and it's just in a direct path to the sun all day. Now, maybe the water on the dark side of the moon would not be irradiated. You think about that.
Ah. I think we got to bring down the shields.
The Nazis have already set up their base on the dark side of the moon, and they've already probably taken up most of the water anyways. Or at least think about their irrigation system set up, so we don't have to worry about that. Because you saw that in Iron Sky.
I saw that in Iron Sky. Corey Good, Secret Space Program whistleblower, says we have bases on the moon, and then the Dark Nazi fleet have their own buildings and space stations and space bases on the moon, so why not? I believe it all.
No, what these guys are talking about sending this little probe to the moon, that's chump change compared to our secret weapons, space program and all the dreadnoughts and the giant,
Solar Warden. We have Solar Warden. We have the TR-3B, Black Triangle machines. Look, I believe we got some crazy motherfucking shit that has yet to be displayed. I absolutely do. And I want to believe all this shit. It's just hard to pick apart what is most likely of a scenario to be happening right now, and then what is this kind of like mundane stuff that is just so boring. I find it hard to believe, like, after 100 years, we're still using firepower for our cars, and we're using rocket power, firepower to get out of the atmosphere. Don't we have, like, electromagnetic slingshots and railguns to shoot us out of the atmosphere? I mean, didn't Tesla figure this shit out?
Tesla was well beyond its time, and people are just now starting to show all of his different technologies that they're using. I mean, the Chinese supposedly have a railgun on one of their ships now for their Navy. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's out there and hidden technologies, and you think about just how the pyramids were built, and the only thing that really makes any a reasonable explanation is electromagnetics there to be able to levitate stuff, just like in that one guy did in Coral Springs or wherever it is in Florida.
Yeah.
There's levitation methodologies that we've lost or that have become hidden from us that aren't available to us readily right now. So it's just a matter of trying to find those things. Hey, I just want to leave you with one last thing. I sent you an article about the Norwegian Olympic team and how they were decrying the fact that they're so good at cross-country skiing that they got a little bit of self-loathing, and or they're kind of bummed out that they're so good that they are going to scare away countries like Poland and other countries away from wanting to do it. So they're having second thoughts about how awesome they are at cross-country skiing.
How pompous is that?
Pretty arrogant, but Norway's got $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund, and so I guess they can act like they're high and mighty and pompous and strut their stuff and think about how well. But people don't understand. I know, especially up here in Alaska, there's a lot of people I know that are really into skiing and cross country skiing, downhill, that kind of stuff. But I think supposedly some of those athletes, they're millionaires. They're the rock stars over there in Norway. They actually get quite a bit of money over there. So it's no joke over there. Those guys get paid good money to be the athletes that they are.
Yeah, I just brought your article up on screen here. As medals pile up, Norway worries. Are we winning too much? Come on. How could you be winning too much? Come on.
Winning?
Yeah.
Winning?
No, if they had Charlie Sheen over there, he'd set them straight.
Yeah.
He'd
What kind of dog is that?
How good winning really is.
Yeah. Yeah, he's put him on some cocaine, get him on some skis, and have him, snow that powder. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You got anything else for us, Dan? We'll be back on Wednesday.
Snow? Oh, I thought they imported all that snow to South Korea. Oh, that
hell
wasn't
yeah!
Snow. I got you. I got you.
Oh yeah.
Yep. No, sneaky.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Have a good one.
All right, have a good night.
We'll hopefully see you on Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Bye. And that is it. That is it for us. Stan always knows how to wind down the show. And I forgot to give a big thanks to everyone who's on the Patreon and donating. I'm going to get to a segment maybe on Wednesday and just name some names. I'm going to start naming names and thanking people. Thanking you people for supporting the show. Really appreciate that. I like doing this show. I like doing the night talk. I like doing the Our Big Dumb Mouth with Joe and Clown Baby. Clown Baby, he might be back on Wednesday. I don't know yet. I got to talk with him. Joe might be out. Don't know what's happening. All I know, it's all happening.
It's all happening.
But I don't know what exactly is happening. Just that it's all happening. All right. I probably will hop on Player Unknown Battlegrounds here for a little bit on Steam. Wind down the night. I'm all stuffy from this no smoking shit. Yeah.
It's here, baby!
It is here.
This man claims he has been to the year 5000.
Use it like a toilet!
All right, guys. I will talk to you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for the discombobulation early on the show. It's what happens when I get excited about UFOs and military abductions. Start going crazy.
Bull, baloney, garbage.
Bull, baloney, garbage. Job luck.